Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alek.
And I'm Matt Morrison.
Hope everybody is having a fantastic July 4th. That's when this video is coming out. You already know that. You're watching it. Before we get into it, we're talking baseball today, but make sure to follow us on Twitter, Casual Sports Report, Instagram, @Casual Sports Report, YouTube, @Casual Sports Report, and you can find us on Spotify and iTunes now by typing in Casual Sports Report into the search bar. Find us that way. Follow the show so you can get everything as they come out on Spotify and iTunes. The day we record them is the day they go live for you. So make sure to check that out if you want to be the first to see all of our content. Helps us out, helps you out. All right, talking baseball today. 4th of July tradition. I think there's no better thing to talk about on this day. So, as most of you know, we're recording this a little bit early. So spring training has not started yet. It will restart on July 1st, and then the regular season starts July 24th. And how the season is going to work. It's a 60-game season that they're playing in 66 days. And here's what I'm thinking. How are teams going to be keeping up with this travel and the pace of play? Because this is going to be an exhausting season. 60 games, 66 days. That's no breaks for these players.
And there's no room for error, too. You got to play top-notch baseball pretty much the whole year. You can't have mid-season slumps.
Now, the travel does become a little bit easier, so they've announced the schedules and how it's all going to work. There's going to be 10 games against each team in their division in 2 or 3 game series. Then the other 20 games will come against their NL or AL counterpart. So, for example, the AL East would face the NL East, and they play each other 4 times. Every team plays in each division.
Yeah.
So, big news now for baseball. It's kind of a change for how this is going. The NL is now using a designated hitter for the rest of the season. So that's going to help pitchers out here because pitchers are going to be exhausted.
Yes.
I'm expecting to see a lot of runs, a lot of hits, a lot of errors too.
Yes.
Condensed season, there's going to be a lot of soft tissue injuries early on. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams are going to handle with the no breaks, basically.
Yeah. And you're going to see a lot of younger players brought up, too, with the whole minor league situation.
Getting into that, teams will have 26 players available after the first 4 weeks, but their 40-man roster has been increased to 60-man to allow for players to get injured or get COVID during the season. And games that are stopped before the 5th inning due to rain will no longer be considered washouts. They will be considered suspended and will be played at a later date because they're trying to get in as many games as possible. Although, some of these teams, especially, Cleveland or places in the Midwest over here and, East Coast region, we're in the rainy season right now. It's raining almost every day. We've seen it in NASCAR. There's rain delays every week.
It rained all day last week.
Exactly.
Every day it rained.
Every day. It was raining here all the time. So it's interesting to see. It was only 66 days to get all of this done. That's only 6 days you're allowing for these games to be kind of redid. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this out as we get farther into the season and more games get suspended, as they say. And we know going through the contract talks for the past basically month or so, we had the video coming out on how the contract talks and the season will affect baseball going forward. Check that out. It's called Baseball's Ending. It's a fun video for us to do. I liked it. In that, we talked about the players wanting to be paid their full prorated salaries. Part of that has been put into the contract deal that the MLB is forcing upon the Players Association. I say forcing upon. The MLB PA was kind of forced into agreeing with it because due to their current CBA, they're not allowed to go on strike. So they could kind of protest during the season, but they eventually just had to give in to MLB's demands and play. So they're going to be paid a full prorated portion of their 2020 season contract, which means they're getting 37% of the full season's pay. So not as much as they wanted, but hey, it's better than nothing for a lot of these guys. Obviously, there's guys at the top like Mike Trout who aren't going to struggle from this one.
No.
But they've brought in some interesting rule changes, I think. A lot of them, too.
Yes.
And if you have been paying attention to the NBA's rule book that they just put out, I believe it was like a 110-page rule book. This one's not much shorter. Whew, man. So just to give you a rundown of some of the big ones here, grab your popcorn, there's quite a few. There's no bad boys anymore.
No.
Got them rid of. All the players will be handling those responsibilities. All the players have to bring their own equipment to the on-deck circle. No sharing the donuts or multiple bats, whatever they want. Pitchers have to bring their own rosin bag to the mound and use their own personal baseballs for warm-ups. Pitchers can bring a wet rag to the mound. They are no longer to lick their fingers before a pitch for grip. Like you see a lot of the guys that just grab it, and with that, no longer allowed to do that. And I think interesting with this one, I guarantee you someone's going to try and cheat with that. They just put a little bit of tree sap on that wet rag. Oh, come on. Just dropped it on the floor or whatever on accident.
Yeah.
Accidentally hit one of the bats with it to get all the pine tar on it. Watch for something to happen here. This one's kind of interesting. It's kind of, you don't see it as much on TV, but hitters left on base will have to go back to the dugout to get their equipment instead of it being brought out to them as they have for a while.
Yeah.
You normally don't see this in the TV broadcast, but it's something. It's a big part of those players, having to run all the way back, back out.
They would like the guy playing second base, the guy playing first would go get the stuff, because he just got done hitting or ended the inning.
Someone would normally just bring out his stuff. Can't do that anymore. Here's the biggest rule and issue that I have no idea how they're going to enforce. No spitting.
Yeah.
Sunflower seeds and chew are prohibited from the games.
Bubble gum?
Gum is allowed. They are allowing gum, but no spitting it out or anything. Balls used for batting practice can only be used once every 5 days. In between those 5 days, they're going to be cleaned and sanitized. You know how many balls are going to be used for this entire season? It's going to be astronomical.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it. Astronomical.
Yeah. I'm always bringing in the big words here.
Yeah. But back with the spitting, especially with Terry Francona, that's his thing. He's going to spit, he's going to chew.
I don't know how some of these players are going to do it, especially the ones that have been in the league for a while. Managers, really, because they just kind of stand there for 99% of the game and they go yell at somebody. No contact is allowed between players. No. Besides tagging your runner or incidental contact on the field, everything else is going to be a big no-no. So no high fives, no fist bumps, no hugs. I don't know how that's going to work, but someone hits the walk-off home run, no celebrating at home plate apparently.
Oh my God.
See that happening, right? I don't see it. New extra innings rule for regular season. This has been in talks for baseball for a while now. This is only for the rest of the regular season. So as we get into the playoffs, this will go away. But extra innings, play will start with a runner already on second base for the hitting team. I think it's interesting. They're really trying to speed it up here, trying to keep the game short, which is probably really important for this shorter season. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they got to do what they have to do to make the season better to play.
Personally, I love going into extra innings. Go 18 innings, but that's going to be almost impossible with this format.
I know.
Going into 20 innings or whatever.
Yeah, a couple years ago, the Indians went to 19 innings.
It's always fun to watch because you're on edge for those 10 innings. That destroys bullpens. It destroys everybody's stamina going to the next game. Next game is just awful.
Especially with all the the balls and all that crap. You know how many bats and balls are you gonna go through?
Oh man, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a short season, but it's gonna be a long season.
Yeah, but not talking about the game that they're gonna have to play the next day too. You just pretty much played 2 games and you gotta get up and do the same thing again. Players will get frustrated. I predict that. They're gonna get mad and they're gonna get ornery.
Oh, exactly. So I'm curious to see how will the MLB do with the NBA now claiming that they're going to be doing an all-day schedule once they return on July 30th. So obviously they're going to get 6 days. Baseball's the only thing on. July 30th hits, and we have basically the sprint to the finish line for the NBA playoffs. How do you think this is going to impact Major League Baseball?
Like what we talked about on that show, the end of baseball. I mean, a lot more people are gonna watch basketball. And I hate to say that, but like,
It'll definitely be. We'll really get to start to see just how these numbers are going to impact each other going forward. Obviously, we're getting a lot more competitive basketball because there's only a couple games left for the season that they're finishing out here. So
it's gonna be tough.
Definitely. Most important things for the restart of baseball here, though. Winning.
Yeah.
It was imagined based on statistics, 33 wins will be the lowest amount of wins a team will most likely be able to have to get into the playoffs. That is based on the average win percentage of the worst playoff team in the last 5 seasons, which was 549. So just above 500 is what you're going to have to do, which is kind of difficult when we're talking sprint to the finish line.
Yes.
So, where this is impacting, depth of pitching. A lot of teams have three quality starters. That's most people's lineup if they're lucky. They get 3 starters, so you plan 3 wins, 2 losses. It's kind of how you normally expect it to go when you're going pitching rotations. I imagine with the starters, they're not going to be playing as long.
No.
I'm imagining probably 4 to 5 innings,
maybe 6.
We're going to see the relievers come in, probably only pitch an inning.
Yeah, you're not going to see any no-hitters or perfect games. So
Probably
you're not
not.
going to see anything.
No one's going to stretch their pitcher out that long, even if he's having a phenomenal game. Youth is going to help these teams a ton with fast-paced play. The older guys are going to be exhausted halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not halfway, most of the way through the season, just because of how fast we're going. With only 6 days off for this entire season. Baseball, we always talk about it being a marathon, not a sprint. This season is the exact opposite. It is a sprint to the finish line.
Sprint. And, there's no room for slumps. You come back after the All-Star break and teams are fresh. You don't have that anymore.
Right.
You got to be fresh right off the start. You got to go. You got to win baseball games.
That's probably the biggest storyline when we're talking about everyone as players, because a lot of the big guys, we expect to have a mid-season slump or you get the beginning slump or whatever. They can't have that this year.
No.
You got 60 games to win, and you have to win almost all of them.
Yeah.
There's no room for error. They expect big hitting numbers. These players are going to be facing a lot of pitchers that they know very well, and they face them very often because they're in their own divisions, in their own areas. A lot of them grew up together playing, or in some instances, but they've been playing against these same teams, playing a lot more often now. I'm thinking with such a short season, we may see the first 400 batting average season for a player.
I think so too.
Players have come close. I believe last year it was Bellinger had 375. It was 375 of the season. That's the closest we have ever had. But in a 60 game stretch, Chipper Jones set over 400 in the first 60 games.
2008.
Yeah, around that.
Played for the A's, I remember.
Yeah, so we've had it in a 60 game stretch. To have the over 400, we may see it one more time. Biggest thing though for this season that I want to make sure everybody gets across to them when they're talking about this season in the future. This season's not going to have an asterisk next to it. There's no reason for it to have one. Yes, it's shortened. We've had shortened seasons before.
Yes.
It's happened in baseball when it comes to strikes and things like that. All the teams are having the same amount of time to prepare. All the teams are having similar travel, same pace of play. Nothing is different between the teams. No reason to put an asterisk next to the season whatsoever. So let's talk a little bit. Let's get into baseball a little bit now.
Let's talk about some teams.
I was going to go more potential MVPs.
Okay.
So let's start for the AL. I'm going to give you a few. These are the most likely to get it this year based on ESPN's article they recently put out. First off, Mike Trout, Alex Bregman. Surprising, Francisco Lindor was put on that list, third highest most likely in the AL, which is kind of interesting. They don't put Jose Ramirez, who's actually been in contention, but we know that's most likely because he always starts off slow.
Yes.
He always struggles at the start. With only 60 games, if he picks it up early, expect success from the Indians. If he doesn't, Indians are most likely going to struggle.
Yes. And it hasn't just been Jose Ramirez. I mean, the Indians have been known past 2 seasons for starting off slow.
Exactly.
They pick up.
They're starting under 500 on the first 40, 50 games.
I know they didn't win the division last year, but they're like 15 games behind. Then in the end, it was like 3 games back.
Exactly. They made the run, but they made it too late.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest issue with
can't do that.
All right. So next up, Matt Chapman. Then we got Carlos Correa, Josh Donaldson, and Giancarlo Stanton.
Josh Donaldson, really?
Yeah, they expected him. He got.
Who's he with now?
He just got picked up by the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, jeez.
So that's gonna be. I'm liking looking at the AL East this year, or sorry, not AL East, AL Central. A lot of competition, probably the most wide open division in baseball.
Yeah.
Why is it always the Cleveland teams and their division is always the most wide open?
I don't know. You got that White Sox team now that has gotten better.
They just added Edwin Encarnacion and Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah, and they already have what's his name, Tim something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a lot of guys there. A lot of potential.
Yeah,
we'll get into the division.
Yeah, we'll get into.
So what are you thinking? AL MVP. I gave you a list of guys there. What are you thinking?
I gotta go Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout's gonna have a good year. I think, and I'm gonna put this out here. I think they stacked up a little bit too. They got some players. I think this is a year that Mike Trout finally gets into the playoffs.
Ooh, that's an interesting call right there.
I'm gonna go there.
All right.
I'll go there.
Mine? God, I really want to pick Frankie, but
yeah, me too. But
he's probably the biggest underdog. If you wanna try and win some big money and you don't know who to pick, put your money on Lindor because that's gonna be a large underdog deficit. Vegas odds on that probably aren't gonna be too happy.
No.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Stanton.
Stanton, Bronx, one of the Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, I like that pick. That's who I'm going with. They got a lot of that Yankees team is loaded.
Yeah,
probably the biggest contender for the American League this year.
Yeah,
just especially on a shortened season with the amount of guys they have. As long as everybody stays healthy, which we know has been an issue for them recently. But they got a lot of room there, so I'm gonna go with Stanton.
Okay, that's a solid pick.
Now going to the NL.
NL?
National League. First off, Mookie Betts.
I knew that name was going to be in there.
Then we got
long-time Red Sox going to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Ronald Acuna Jr.
Braves. Yep.
Jacob deGrom. Bryce Harper. Juan Soto. They got a lot of talent out here in the NL. The NL is going to be a hard one to win. Eugenio Suarez, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Kristen Yelich.
Give me some time.
Try picking this one, right?
Okay. You know what? I gotta go Juan Soto here.
Ooh, okay.
Washington Nationals. That guy had a phenomenal World Series. I think he repeats that performance this whole year. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. That might be a little bit of an underdog, but especially with Yelich in there,
that's
who already won.
I'm
who already
taking
won
Yelich.
It. You gonna take Yelich?
Yeah, I think so. He proved himself last season.
He already won it one time.
He already won it. I see no reason the shortened season why he doesn't get hot early and just drives his way to the finish line. Interesting thing for this season, something we haven't really seen. Talking about awards, the Cy Young winner. The Cy Young winner could have under 4 wins for the entire season, just because the starting pitchers probably won't get counted for as many wins as we normally see, because they're not pitching as much. So if we don't get those early runs, the wins are going to go to the relievers. But that also means the Cy Young winner could also have an ERA of under 1.
Yeah.
Just because if they're not going to give up runs, they're only going to be pitching 4 to 5 innings. So they're not going to get the win, but their ERA is going to be minuscule.
Yes.
So I think that's interesting. I don't really have too many picks for the Cy Young.
No.
But I think let's get right into it. Who is winning? We're going to go division by division here, starting with the NL East.
NL East?
Yeah. Let me scroll down here to the NL, see who we're looking at. We have the Atlanta Braves, the Miami Marlins, the New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies. What awful name. Before we get any further, how terrible of a name is the Philadelphia Phillies? I've never heard anybody talk about it. It's the worst name. You just use your own name again.
Yeah, the Phillies.
Right? Like, what are they going to call the Pittsburgh Pits? the Clevelanders? It's stupid.
It is.
I hate it. Let's get a new name for them. Like the Philadelphia Bums.
The Philadelphia Italian Stallion.
Yeah, we just watched Creed 2, so we're on the Italian Stallion route right now. Then the Washington Nationals. So it's a pretty open division here too when you're looking at everything. But favorites so far, I believe, Atlanta Braves, 2 straight NL East titles. They're favorites to win the third. What are your thoughts? Obviously, I think we're both thinking it's not the Marlins, it's not the Mets.
No, but you can't count out the Phillies here. Okay, you got Bryce Harper. You just added Didi Gregorius too. So, but I think the Braves have far more talent. You know, the Freddie Freeman. You know, you got Acuna Jr.
And considering they've won 2 straight, it's a pretty strong pick there. Definitely Philadelphia is definitely the dark horse with all the talent they have. If they can put it together quickly and they don't take too long, they can totally steal this division from the Braves. They were close last year and didn't make it. Had some issues throughout the season. Washington Nationals started slow last season. They have to avoid a similar start.
They do.
They lost Anthony Rendon. He's gone now. They lack depth in the bullpen. What?
Who's Rendon signed with the Giants?
Possibly.
Okay.
They won the World Series last year.
They won the World Series.
And they're not even the favorites to win their own division.
No.
Interesting thing there.
They didn't even win the division last year.
No.
They don't have a
Which,
wild card.
when I was going through these things, I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't win the division? That's crazy. But they haven't won it in 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Braves
have won it in 2 years.
Yeah.
2 straight years, I think. Sorry. But they're also, if they can get the hot start, I don't see a reason why either 3 of these teams. It's really going to depend who gets the best start. That's most likely going to choose who wins this division.
Yes.
So, went through it a little bit. We're not going to go too in-depth because there's a lot of divisions, a lot of teams.
Yeah.
We'll be here for 3 hours, and a baseball game 3 hours long is enough for anyone. So,
so
give me your pick. Annalise, who takes it?
Braves.
I'm taking the Braves again, but I'm taking Phillies make the wild card to the NL.
I do. I'll agree with you there.
All right. Let's go NL Central now. We got the Chicago Cubs, the Cincinnati Reds, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Sorry, our co-host Mike Wolfgang, diehard Pirates fan.
Oh, he knows.
But he knows they suck.
He knows.
I'm sorry, Mike, but the Pirates suck. Okay, and I hope
he knows it. It's because of their owner.
Yeah.
I swear, every time we bring up the Pirates, we're just dogging on them.
Yeah, Mike goes off. He's like, their owner spends all the money on a stupid ski resort. They need to sign better players. You won't hear the end of it. Mike will go on and on.
We might just.
Why are you even
I think once we get back in the radio station, we may just give him a solo 15-minute rant for him. Since he's missed out on all this fun.
Yeah, we'll just let him.
So, NL Central, not really a lot of storylines coming out of here. Kind of a slow division. I think there's probably a pretty obvious pick when we're talking about it.
Yeah. That's
my pick, Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
But I do have second place making the wild card.
Yeah.
The Chicago Cubs. That's what I'm taking. Wild cards. Wild card 7 is going to be the Phillies versus the Cubs. I think that should be a pretty fun one-game series. I almost wish we could get a few more out of that one, but we're only for one because the way the wild card works. NL West. Probably the most locked down division in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks, meh. Colorado Rockies, meh. The San Diego Padres, meh. San Francisco Giants, meh. And the LA Dodgers, who have been there, past 4 seasons?
Yeah.
They have depth at every position.
But teams in that division have showed promise.
They have showed
Padres, you have, what's his name?
I think the Rockies had a good run at one point last season, too.
Arenado, you still got Arenado,
I think the biggest thing is the depth that the Dodgers have. They have so much depth in it and everywhere. The bullpen's deep. The roster itself is deep. They got a lot of young guys that they can call up now that they have 60-man rosters. The players are not going to have time to rest up between the games. So I think they're going to take a few off here and there, and that's where that depth is going to come in. You're going to see a lot more guys coming off. That also comes in when we get the players getting sick. They have quality replacements at every position, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This is the team to beat in not just the National League, but all of baseball. This is the team to look out for.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
I think both of us are picked for the NL West.
Yeah, Dodgers. But, Padres, you got Manny Machado. You have talent on that team, Yeah, so keep an eye on them. But I still think they also have Fernando Tatis Jr., another.
Right.
So
potential MVP candidate.
Yeah. So, but I still think this is a lockdown division for the Dodgers.
Right. I mean, Dodgers have been to the World Series, now, 3 or 4 in a row?
They weren't in last year.
Well, not last year.
They were 2 in a row.
Okay, 2 in a row.
If they would have made it this year, they'd have to win because then people would start calling them the Bills.
Oh, man. We're not even talking football and you're still dogging on the Bills. Man. All right, let's switch it up. AL East. AL East, which consists of the Baltimore Orioles, the Boston Red Sox, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this division?
Yankees.
Oh, wow, you don't even have to go into it? They've got the talent to make the playoffs.
Boston Red Sox lost their top player, Mookie Betts, went to the Red Sox. Blue Jays showed some promise. Well, they have, the
biggest thing for them, travel. They're traveling in between countries, especially with a pandemic. That's going to become harder, more complicated as the season goes by, and they're probably going to have more travel than a lot of the other teams around the country. Tampa Bay, they have a really strong bullpen that's going to be really important for success.
G-Man Chow for the team.
And they always seem to find expert relievers just out of thin air, it seems, every year. So expect them to be strong.
The Blue Jays have young, promising players, Bo Bichette and obviously Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
So there's talent on every one of these teams,
but it's the Yankees.
It's the Yankees.
And they had 7 players named to the MLB's top 100 for the 2020 season. Mm-hmm. Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Stanton, Sanchez, Aroldis Chapman, DJ LeMahieu, and Gleyber Torres.
You have the best closer probably in baseball in Aroldis Chapman. So
Aroldis Chapman is probably, I would say, 60% of the reason why the Indians blew a 3-1 lead to the Cubs.
But hey, we still got a 2-1.
But God, he was amazing to watch in that series. Love him or hate him, he's a great closer. They just picked up Garrett Cole, who's an amazing starter.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough to put up to get wins against them. So my pick for the AL East, the Yankees.
Yes,
but
I hate to say it, I don't.
Red Sox are making the wild card.
You think so?
I'm taking Red Sox for the wild card.
Okay, that's a big step.
It's a big step, but they have the talent. They got a lot of guys there. They had a bad season.
Yeah,
they're coming off a bad season after a good season.
They won the World Series a couple years ago.
Right, they were just up there. Then they had the down season last year. Yeah. I'm thinking a big comeback this year, especially with the short season. Have the experience to get back. They're going to do just fine. So I'm taking them for the wild card. Now, the AL West, home of the Houston Astros. The Los Angeles Angels, the Oakland A's, the Texas Rangers with their new Metal Tin Stadium, and the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot out of this division. Los Angeles Angels have one of the oldest lineups in all of baseball. The experience is going to help them not start off slow, I think. It's going to help them start the season warm. But I think playing so many games, they're going to dip off towards the end of the season. They're not going to stick up there. We might see them at first, see the Astros kind of get a little competition, but this is the Astros division to lose.
Yes, it is.
They lost Garrett Cole. Justin Verlander is still out. He has just started throwing on the mound after having the groin surgery last season.
And Verlander's getting older, too.
And he's getting older. Once one of the best starting pitchers in all of baseball, coming off an injury. We may not see him till after the season, so he's not going to get a lot of playing time. Don't expect much out of this bullpen, but I still think they're probably the favorites to the West.
Yes, me too.
All right, let's get into our division here. I say our division, where we live, teams we grew up on. The Chicago White Sox, our favorite team. The Cleveland Indians, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. Cleveland Indians, probably our favorite team. The Detroit Tigers, the Kansas City Royals, and the Minnesota Twins. This division's got 3 teams to take it.
Yep.
The Twins, the White Sox, and the Indians.
Yeah.
We talked, White Sox added Encarnacion and Grandal. The Twins added Josh Donaldson and Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
And then
Indians,
I think, are one of the most interesting teams to watch for this season.
Me too.
They normally start off slow and force to make up for it later, like you mentioned, with going down 15 games last season, then pushing it all the way back up to, what'd you say, 3?
Yes.
It was definitely interesting to see, especially because year after year, Terry Francona manages to put together one of the strongest bullpens in baseball. Year after year.
Year after year. He just, he took Cody Allen and he left and take him and replace him with Brad Hand. And people give Brad Hand a lot of crap, but remember, he had like 34 saves last year. When he blew one save, they threw garbage at him. That's bull crap. But yeah,
they're one of the toughest fan bases around.
Yeah,
Cleveland expects to lose, but now that we've given them a little bit of hope, if they lose again, they get pissed.
Yeah, they just signed that Domingo Santana. He brings some speed to the base running. You're bringing back Lindor. You're bringing back Carlos Santana, Ramirez. You got Oscar Mercado back in the outfield. Tyler Naquin, who had a little slump, but he showed promise last year. And you got Mike Clevenger in that rotation again.
Exactly, and Shane Bieber, another guy who's coming up the ranks.
Yeah, and they also brought in Delinos the Shields, another great base runner. So,
but
Zach, please
if they start slow, they're immediately eliminated.
Yeah.
They have to avoid it.
They have the talent. They're just like the Browns. They have the talent to win, but they just can't.
Here's my biggest prediction for them.
Yeah.
If we see Jose Ramirez have another MVP-esque season and come out hot, they will not only be contenders for the division, but the World Series. And that's my prediction right here. You heard it here first.
Yeah. And obviously, I'm going to pick the Indians to win the division because I'm gonna punch holes in all these other teams, okay?
Go ahead.
Minnesota Twins, Max Kepler, he's not the best player, okay? I've seen him. We tore up that Minnesota team. I think they had maybe 4 wins out of us. We won almost every series, okay? I remember Carlos Santana had like a walk-off grand slam to win that one game.
And I think the fact that we're facing a lot of the same teams over and over is definitely going to have an impact on wins.
Yes.
So, we're not going to see one team sweep somebody for the entire season, most likely not in the Central at least.
I know the Twins won it last year, but this is the Indians division for a couple of years. They know how to get it done.
And I think they're going to be right back there.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Indians too.
Oh, yeah. The White Sox, they're showing flashes, but man, they're too much.
We're totally showing our Indians bias.
Yeah, I know.
At least we have reasoning this time, right?
White Sox, the Indians, there's a reason why we got rid of Edwin Encarnacion. Okay, he strikes out a lot. Right.
Our bullpen's going to be taking care of that.
We got Zach Plesac, we got Clevenger. I know we lost Kluber, but he's old.
Yeah, it still hurts though.
He's like 35 years old.
But
so it's fine.
I have the Minnesota Twins making the wild card. So the wild card matchup will be the Red Sox versus the Twins. That's what I'm going with.
Shit.
Give me now your AL champion. Who wins the AL? Who is the AL's representative in the World Series? You always get answer first. You want me to answer first?
Yeah, you go ahead and answer.
I'll give you my pick. It's the Yankees. They got the talent.
Who they winning over? Houston?
Probably Houston. The AL Central has consistently been probably the weakest division in the AL. Maybe we'll see a difference with how Houston does with, no trash cans this year for Houston.
Yeah, no more spying. Okay.
Depending if they start struggling, I'd give it to the I'd say Indians.
Yeah.
But I still have no matter who the Yankees end up facing, I'm taking the Yankees for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Yankees too. I hate to say it. My tongue. I hate saying it. But the Indians are a dark horse team. Okay?
They are.
And it could also be the Twins. They're a dark horse team too. But
if you want the riskiest bet for the season on World Series, if you want to put your money in right now and you want the chance to make a lot, but you don't want to spend a lot, put it on the Indians right now.
Yep. Which this will be the year we get it when it's a short season.
God, I feel like we should go be putting money on it. But National League. Oh, you want me to go first again?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Dodgers.
I'm picking Dodgers too. We're finally going to see once again
And
the Yankees, the Dodgers, the two biggest brands in baseball, once again going at it. The World Series in 115 years, I believe they've only matched up 11 times for the World Series, and I think World Series champion, finally, the Los Angeles Dodgers finally win the World Series.
1988.
Yeah, I just say finally because they keep getting there, they keep making the run, they keep being the best team,
and they keep
blow it
losing
in the playoffs, or there's a cheating scandal against them, whatever. This is finally the Dodgers' year to win the World Series.
They win the NLCS over the Braves. I say that it goes 7 games there. I'm gonna go that.
How long do you think this World Series goes?
Oh man, 6-7 games.
I'm going 6 games, 4-2 the Dodgers.
Okay.
I'm liking that. Got anything else you want to add for the people?
Go Indians, huh?
Go baseball. Hopefully it's the end of the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have any interruptions.
Yeah.
Hopefully all the players stay healthy. That's the most important part of this. Hope everybody stays healthy, all these players. Obviously we want it for the entertainment and for more shows for you guys, which just creates more entertainment. What's the important thing is getting the players back for next season and seasons going forward. That's for every league, not just baseball. But without any further ado, we hope you all have a great July 4th. Go America.
Go America.
Stay united. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and now on iTunes as well. We'll see you all next time. Stay happy, stay healthy.